It looks like the Legends EA starters have been leaked, but they haven't. Welcome back to the Punk AF Gaming channel. In this episode, we're going to try and figure out what starters we might see in Legends EA, which gets released this year. And while we actually don't have a clue, because Game Freak have leaked very little about this game, I think we can use a little bit of logic and a little bit of guesswork to try and figure out or get closer to what the starters might be in Legends EA. So subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's jump into the video. Firstly, I think we need to dispel whatever rumours there might be about the Generation 6 starters coming back to be the starters of Legends EA. I think that's a really stupid idea, and B, I think they'll make them catchable Pokemon like they did in Legends Arceus with the Gen 4 starters. I think that's a way more likely outcome, so I'm going to count those out straight away. Generation 6 starters, it's not going to happen. Secondly, I think we're highly unlikely to see Cyndaquil from Gen 2, Oshawott from Gen 5, or Rowlet from Gen 7 just because they were the starters in Legends Arceus, and I really doubt they'll recycle the same ones. So for me, those are the easiest ones that we can discount. Definitely not. It's not going to happen. We're not going to see them as the starters. Doesn't mean they're not going to be catchable Pokemon in the game, but we're not going to see them as starter Pokemon for Legends EA. The next entire generation I think we can discount is probably Gen 9. Let's be fair, we're way too close to those games for them to warrant being in the Legends game, and while I think two of them are really cool, guess which two? Just don't think those games are ingrained into the Pokemon lore enough to warrant being in a Legends game. So the Gen 9 starters, sorry, but you're out too. So far, we have no Gen 6, no Gen 9, no Legends Arceus starters, and to add to the list, no Gen 1. So this one may be personal opinion, but I think Game Freak needs to let go of the Gen 1 nostalgia just a little bit. And I definitely don't think we'll see them as starters, but I'd be even more surprised if we saw them as catchable Pokemon. We can all agree the Gen 1 starters are pretty cool and really nostalgic, but they've had their time. It's time to leave them alone. And all three of them already have Mega Evolutions anyway. Charizard has 2 and a Gigantamax. Game Freak, there's nothing else you need to do here. Leave them out of it. Everything will be fine. Did you know that most people that watch content on this channel aren't subscribed? But you can change that now, and I'd really appreciate it. So hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. So speaking of Mega Evolution, I think this next one may ruffle a few feathers. But Generation 3, I don't think you've got a hope in hell of seeing them in Legends EA. And that's because they've already got their own Mega Evolutions from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I think Game Freak are going to be pulling out all the stops to make this next Legends game the best they possibly can. They've taken ages to develop it. We've had no spoilers, which is a bit shocking for Game Freak, let's be fair, and I don't think they're going to want to recycle anything they've done in the past. I think they're going to want to make all the starters new with Mega Evolutions. That completely discounts Generation 3, and I know a lot of people were hoping for Generation 3 starters, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think personally I would forgive them if this was the case and they did choose one of the starters from Generation 3, but honestly, don't think it's going to happen, so we're going to count them out too. So if you've been keeping count, that only leaves us with 2 generations that have not been mentioned at all so far. That also means we're going to have to do some fixing and thinking. I hate thinking, but we haven't mentioned any starters from Generation 4 or any starters from Generation 8. So I've created 2 different lists of starter Pokemon that I think could potentially be in Legends EA. As you're probably aware, could be talking total bollocks, and I might be completely wrong. But, you know, we've had a bit of fun anyway, and that's absolutely fine. Firstly, I know lots of people have been thinking Empoleon is a pretty much dead cert. It's in France, French Emperor, Emperor Penguin, you know, you've got the whole thing there. But I think Infernape has got to be one of the most loved Pokemon from Generation 4, if not the entirety of Pokemon altogether. I'd love to see what they could do with them and give them a Mega Evolution, so for Gen 4, I'm picking Infernape. I think it'll be a really cool choice, and I would love to see what they would do with this Pokemon. So if you've chosen Chimchar, that means we have to discount Cinderace as the Gen 8 starter. But I think we're likely to see Sobble as the water starter from Gen 8. The reason I think we'll see Sobble is because Inteleon was kind of under-designed in my opinion, and while I know some people like him, I think it'd be really cool as a bit of a redemption arc to see what they can really do with this Pokemon and give them a Mega Evolution. And with that being said, I think they'll pick the grass starter from Generation 2, Meganium. So if we're talking about redemption arcs and underwhelming Pokemon, Meganium's got to be the king or queen there. With that being said, I don't think I could discount the fact Empoleon might take the bacon there, so my honourable mentions would be a team of Piplup, Cinderace, or Tepig. could go either way, and Totodile from Generation 2. So what do you think? Do you think I'm right or completely wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Really appreciate everyone for watching the content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.